Walk into any grocery store and you'll probably see at least two kinds of honey sitting side by side, one labeled raw and the other just honey. Sometimes it says pure, sometimes organic, sometimes it comes in a cute bear-shaped bottle. But what's really the difference? Is raw honey actually healthier? Is pasteurized honey somehow less real? And if you're just drizzling it over toast or stirring it into tea, does any of this even matter? Today, we're breaking down the sweet science behind raw honey versus pasteurized honey, where it comes from, what processing really does to it, and whether raw honey deserves its glowing reputation. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which jar belongs in your kitchen. Let's get into it, right here on History of Simple Things. At its core, honey is simple, but the way it's made is anything but. Honey begins with nectar collected by honeybees, most commonly the species known as Apis mellifera. Bees gather nectar from flowers and store it in a special honey stomach. Back at the hive, they pass it from bee to bee, mixing it with enzymes that start breaking down complex sugars into simpler ones like glucose and fructose. Then comes the magic: evaporation. Bees fan their wings to reduce the water content of the nectar until it becomes thick, stable, and resistant to spoilage. Once it reaches the right consistency, they seal it in wax combs. What we end up with is a natural sweetener that contains sugars, trace enzymes, small amounts of vitamins and minerals, pollen particles, and plant compounds called antioxidants. But that's just the starting point. What happens next depends on how the honey is processed. Raw honey is honey in its most natural edible form. It's typically strained to remove large debris like bits of wax or dead bees, but it is not heated to high temperatures and not finely filtered. That means it retains tiny particles of pollen, enzymes produced by bees, and other microscopic components. Because it isn't heavily processed, raw honey often looks cloudy or opaque. It may also crystallize more quickly than processed honey. That grainy texture you sometimes see, that's just natural sugar crystals forming, completely normal and perfectly safe. Raw honey is often sold by local beekeepers, farmers markets, or specialty stores. Many people are drawn to it because it feels closer to nature, less tampered with, more authentic. But what about pasteurized honey? Pasteurized honey has been heated, usually to high temperatures, and then rapidly cooled. The main reason for this process is not safety, because honey is naturally low in moisture and resistant to bacteria, but appearance and shelf stability. Heating honey makes it smoother and more transparent. It also slows down crystallization, meaning it stays liquid and visually appealing for longer periods. After heating, pasteurized honey is often finely filtered. This removes pollen and other tiny particles, giving it that clear, golden look you commonly see in supermarkets. Most large commercial brands use pasteurization because it creates a consistent product that looks attractive and pours easily. For mass distribution and long shelf life, it makes business sense. But here's where things get interesting. Does heating honey change its nutritional value? This is one of the biggest debates. Honey contains enzymes like diastase and invertase, which bees add during the honey-making process. It also contains antioxidants, including flavonoids and phenolic acids. These compounds are often credited for honey's potential health benefits. When honey is heated to high temperatures, some of these enzymes can break down or become less active. Antioxidant levels may also decrease slightly, depending on how intense the heat treatment is. However, let's keep perspective. Honey is mostly sugar, around 80%. The vitamins and minerals are present in small amounts. So while raw honey may retain more enzymes and antioxidants than pasteurized honey, the difference isn't dramatic enough to turn honey into a superfood. In other words, raw honey may offer a slight nutritional edge, but it's still a sweetener first and foremost. Many people swear by raw honey for soothing sore throats, calming coughs, and even helping with seasonal allergies. Scientifically speaking, honey, both raw and pasteurized, has natural antimicrobial properties. Its low water content, acidic pH, and hydrogen peroxide production help inhibit bacterial growth. In fact, certain types of medical-grade honey are used in wound care. A famous example is honey derived from the Manuka plant in New Zealand, popularized worldwide under the name Manuka honey. It's studied for its strong antibacterial properties. When it comes to allergies, though, the evidence is less clear. The idea behind raw honey helping allergies is that local pollen in the honey may help your body build tolerance. While it's an appealing theory, research hasn't strongly confirmed this effect. For everyday use, like soothing a cough, both raw and pasteurized honey can help coat the throat and reduce irritation. In that case, either type will likely do the job. In the end, raw honey versus pasteurized honey isn't a battle between good and bad. It's more about how close you want your food to be to its natural state. Both started the same way, as nectar collected by hardworking bees, transformed through biology and time into something golden and sweet. So next time you're standing in front of that grocery shelf, you'll know exactly what you're choosing and why. Because sometimes even the simplest things deserve a closer look. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.